Have you ever had an argument with maybe a friend or a significant other, and you kind of finish the argument, you wrap it up, you apologize, you kind of come to new grounds where you stand, you kind of come to a new perspective that each other have, and you desire to move on. You kind of move into the next phase. And then down the road, either yourself or that significant other brings up those past wounds or that past argument, and everything has to be rehashed again. Well, ultimately, that's pretty much what Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is doing. When I watched the film this past weekend, I just kind of felt like this is really exciting. At the same time, the same plot points, the same overall message, we've already established, we've already covered. Let's go back to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So Caesar is born, he's raised by humans, and he's introduced to other apes as well as negative humans. So up until that point, his view of humanity was relatively clean. And then he gets abused and he sees apes as being oppressed. And so he tries to free them from the evil clutches of human enslavement. In Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Caesar has to go through a process of learning that just because you're ape, it does not mean that you can be trusted, because he kind of starts with this blanket statement of, I don't trust humans and I want to protect all the apes from the evil intentions of humans.
Apes do not want war!
And obviously with Koba, he sees that that is not the case, and he also comes in contact with some good humans, and all of a sudden he learns a lesson that it's not really about groups who are good and bad, it's really about the individual ape or the individual human. Then we hit War of the Planet of the Apes, and it's pretty much kind of like a revenge story, but we kind of see the same areas. Obviously, he's very embittered towards the humans, specifically the Colonel, because his family was killed by them. But he also finds out later that it was Winter that gave up their hidden position, and he gets to observe that humanity's really going through a struggle more than apes are, with them getting this dumb disease, regressing intellectually. Caesar's story ends with him basically saying, look, I can't help humans, I can't help apes who don't want to be helped. What I can help are the apes that are good, that do need help, and I can get them to a place of safety, to have their own land where they don't have to be under threat of being abused or murdered. So Caesar ends the 3-movie area, kind of establishing this message that humans and apes can live side by side, and then there are certain humans and apes that just cannot. And it's kind of a person-to-person, ape-to-ape circumstance. But Caesar's idea is just create separation. If you could just stay away from each other, then a lot of these problems go away. And then we come back in generations later with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. There are so many apes that don't even know really who Caesar was. They just know him as kind of like this original elder, the first elder with a lot of wise teachings. But it's been so long and so many generations that there are clans that don't even know who he is. There are also apes that have built entire kingdoms off of this false interpretation and false application of Caesar's words. He's almost like a religious figure, kind of like one who spoke to God on behalf of the apes, but really he's just a luck of the draw, and he's the first one to become intelligent and put the pieces in motion. But interestingly enough, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes kind of feels like we're going back to this original idea of, can apes and humans live side by side in this world? Many generations down the road have to relearn the lesson that Caesar already kind of discovered, went through, and came to a conclusion about. The answer is ultimately no. When it comes to the large groups, on individual basis, yes, they can. But as the population of apes and the population of humans, no, it's pretty clear they can't. So I'm watching this new movie and I'm like, what's the purpose? What's the point of making this movie? I'm not trying to slam the movie. I really am not trying to say that this is not a good movie. I'm just saying that we didn't really come up with any other big lessons here. So let me praise the film a little bit just so people don't get upset with me, because as of right now, it's pretty highly favored on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the visuals and the action and the apes themselves are all very good. The animation of these apes are up to par with the other films. I can't understand how they literally animated apes' faces to emote like humans and not ever hit that uncanny valley where you're just like, something's wrong here. It feels like genuine apes emoting the way humans emote. But we've seen that for multiple movies now. The action scenes in this film are really exciting. They're really well done, and just the fast movement, the anticipation that's being built, it really is fun in a theater. And the characters are all well done for the most part. I mean, Noah is, in my opinion, a pretty good protagonist to follow up a Caesar character. He doesn't come in as strong, but he's kind of like this blank canvas for multiple new Planet of the Apes films. Proximus Caesar was a very interesting antagonist, very charismatic leader, and also feeling dangerous when he's in the room, just the natural authority that he carries. So I thought Proximus was a really good villain. And then, of course, May, I think, although she was quiet for most of the film, and although there was a few kind of exposition dump lines, I think for the most part, her character was believable, and the kind of multiple turns that her character makes, and even in the deception, when there's kind of like a deception revealed here, it's pretty interesting. I'm engaged. The problem I think I have with this movie is ultimately the last thing that Noah says to May, which I thought there was cool depth here to show visually the gun that she has drawn behind her back, and leaving it up to question what her intentions with that was. And then for Noah to hand her the medallion of Caesar as he's kind of like passing on this idea that Caesar is merciful to humans and apes, that he is leading with strength. I think that's a very interesting aspect to the story. But the last question he asked May is, can apes and humans live side by side? And May and him part ways with that question unanswered. So I kind of feel like the big moment of the messaging of the ultimate position that we land in is not really a position at all. It actually feels like we've done this whole setup and created these new characters and told this story to open up this can of worms and then see where it goes afterwards. But that's the end of the movie, so we don't know where it goes. And yeah, they're probably setting up for more films, but again, I have to ask the question, what was the point of this movie? It's to make money. It's to make more Planet of the Apes films, because the first three were so successful and ultimately enjoyed. And although I think Dawn is 100% the best of the three, War of the Planet of the Apes was still really good, and it ended Caesar's story in a pretty significant and powerful way. All that to say is, like, I'm not seeing this next position, generations later, to tell the story of the Planet of the Apes being a bad one. I actually enjoyed the film. However, if we are just rehashing the same question we got from the previous three movies with Caesar, then I'm kind of like, all right, where are we taking this? Are we going to answer the question in a new way? Is there going to be an aspect where humans and apes can live side by side in this new world in generations past Caesar, and the result be different? Maybe, and I might like to see a story like that. But ultimately, I just kind of feel like we're going in a direction where they might just be rehashing the same questions. But I am interested to see what happens to Noah, because after this movie, I am pretty on board with him as a character. If they do another Apes film and they recast a new protagonist and a new ape, and Noah's like doing his own thing with his eagle tribe, I'm going to be kind of annoyed that they're rehashing it, because like Caesar, I think the success of people's attachment to this story needs to be a continuation of the characters that we've enjoyed and have found that are, skilled and witty and have the ability to lead the apes who need him, I am a bit skeptical because I was hoping we were going to open a whole new box to this world that I hadn't thought of, and we didn't. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you would consider supporting us either on Patreon or here on YouTube by joining our memberships. It's only $3.99 a month. You can find the Patreon link in the description below. Myself, as well as my brother and my good friend Wyatt, we do movie review and movie news / podcast, just a bunch of cool commentary, and bring you guys entertainment and movie knowledge every single week. So consider supporting us, and thank you for subscribing to the channel and liking this video. I really appreciate your thoughts below, so leave them. See you next time.